Getting to important program functions in AutoCAD is done through the application menu, also known by me as the big red A. Now, it doesn't look as much as an A as it used to in past releases, but it's still there. Now, it's sometimes difficult for people to tell that that is an actual button that you need to click, but it is. The application menu, if you just left click on it, is where you go to open up files, save files, print files, and manage some of the settings in AutoCAD. The new Open, Save, and Save As options are fairly self-explanatory. If you want a new file, you can click on New. That'll bring up a list of your template files, select the one that you want, and click Open, and now you have a second file open. Go back to the application menu, click on the Open button, and now you can open up a drawing, open something from the cloud, a sheet set, other files. If you just click on the Open button here, it will go to your browser and you find a file, open it up, and you'll have access to it, whatever it might be. Click on the application menu again, click Save to save your drawing, click Save As to define the file name and the location of where your file will be saved. Now, as you can see here, the New, the Open, and the Save As have these little arrows here. These are different options. Now, these options mean that if you move your mouse over to the right window, you pick on one of these other options and it will give you a little bit more detail or something else, an extra tool that you can use. If I click on Open, or if I go to this arrow, I can open up a drawing. Again, open a drawing from the cloud, open up a sheet set, etc. Most of these options, though, are available to you if you just click the regular Open button and you come down over here to the Open button and you have this little arrow. You can open up some other things. Open up just part of the view, open it up as read-only, or if you change down to your file type, it will give you some other options as well. But typically all you're going to need to do is click on the application menu, click on New, Open, Save, or Save As. Now, there are many ways to use your drawing. One way is to print it out, which we will cover extensively later on in a later chapter. Now, you might be surprised, though, at how difficult it can be to actually print a drawing. Now, the export command that you can see here in the application menu right here is meant to put your AutoCAD file into some sort of digital format, like a PDF file that you can email to a client or vendor. And you have a lot of different options available to you: DWF, DWFX, 3D DWF, PDF, DGN, FBX, or other formats. Now, some of these lists here might be really long, and you can see here that there are little bitty arrows at the top and at the bottom. Put your mouse over there and it will scroll up or down accordingly. So that's the export. If we go to Publish or Print, these are your printing tools. These will allow you to take your drawing and put it onto paper. We'll go over those in a lot more detail later on. The Drawing Utilities feature has many tools in it. We'll cover a lot of these individually more extensively in later chapters, but this is where you go to set your drawing properties, set your units, audit the file, check it for digital errors, things like that. Check the status, purge your drawing to clean it up a little bit, recover in case it somehow crashes on you, which it will happen. So a lot of times AutoCAD will crash on you while you're working on it for a lot of different reasons. If you open up the Drawing Recovery Manager, then that will bring up all the files that you had opened when AutoCAD crashed so that you can easily get back and restart your drawing session. Now, the Close button here should be rather self-explanatory. This Close button will shut down AutoCAD. If you haven't saved your files, it will ask you if you want to, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Say, well, have I saved it or have I not saved it? So if you hit the Close button, and AutoCAD automatically closes, that means that you have saved and you haven't made any other changes in your drawing since then. One last feature for the application menu that I want to show you, that if you want to use a command but you can't find it, so you'll find this to be extremely useful for you, especially when you first start off using AutoCAD. Open up the application menu, go into this top button right here, and just start typing something in. The line command. So if I type in line, it'll bring up the command for me. Right here, I can click this and it will start the line command. It'll give me tooltips and it tells you here where it can be found. So if I click it, now I'm starting to draw a line. Next, I want to talk to you about the QAT, which is a QAT, which stands for the Quick Access Toolbar. It's right next to the application menu, and that consists of these buttons right here. A lot of these buttons you can find, like the Save As, Save, Open, and New, are found right in the application menu. So it gives you quick access to some of these tools right away. So I can click less, I have to move my mouse less, and so I can get to them very quickly. Now you can customize this if you'd like, because we have on it right now out of the box, New, Open, Save, Save As, Print or Plot, Undo, Redo, and then we have more options. If I click on this arrow here, you can see all the commands that are here are turned on. They have a little check mark. Now, these are some of the other things that you can turn on if you'd like. You can turn on your workspace controls, match properties, batch plot, plot preview properties, etc. One thing that I like to turn on is the match properties. So I'll click here, and now it turns it on. This is the new button here, and we'll talk about match properties later on. So that's the application menu and the quick access toolbar. Now, one other thing you can do with this quick access toolbar is get more commands. So if there's something that's not here, you can click on the more commands and you can find them and add them to it. Now, you can also show the menu bar. So if you've used AutoCAD before and you've used the menu bar and you like it, you can get access to it right there. Or you can hide the menu bar. Or you can click the show below the ribbon. That puts the quick access toolbar down here. And so if you don't like quick access toolbar to be here because it kind of takes up more room, click show above the ribbon. So it puts it back up here, takes up less space, but yet you can still get to it quite easily. This is the way I prefer to use it. The user interface in AutoCAD is key to working efficiently. Now, to help us out, AutoCAD has created workspaces. A workspace is an organized group of interface tools. Now, out of the box, AutoCAD comes with 3 workspaces. Each one is slightly different from the other, and each one fills certain needs. If you come down here to the status bar, click on this arrow right here for the workspace settings. You'll see we have 3 main workspaces: drafting and annotation, 3D basics, and 3D modeling. Now, to switch in between any of these, it's very simple. The one that's current has the check mark on it, and then the others, you just click on it to switch to it. Now, in this video series, we're mainly going to use the main drafting and annotations workspace. We're not really going to get into any 3D basics or any 3D modeling. To get to the one you want, you just click on it and it will load the user interface that you want. This little window here that may keep popping up on you is called the design feed. You can always turn it back on later, but for most of the time right now, for purposes of this video, I'm going to turn it off. Now, there are some things that you can do to manage your workspaces. And you do that through your workspace setting buttons found down here. You have the Save Current As, you have Workspace Settings, Customize, and Display Workspace Label. Here you can arrange the way the available workspaces are displayed for you. So if I go to Workspace Settings, it will show the different workspaces that I have. If I don't want to see any of them, I can turn them off by here, clicking and clicking, and then click OK. So now when I come down to my workspace settings, that's the only one that is available to me. Now I can always click back at the settings and turn these back on if I want. I can adjust the order that I want. If I just select one and click move up, it'll move it up. Or select it, click move down, it'll move down. If I want a separator, I can click add separator and it will put the separator above where I currently have my little blue selection. When I'm finished, click OK. And now when I come down here, I can see this little separator line. So that's a nice thing to use if you customize your own workspaces and you make them all. Now, if you want to make your own workspace or just tweak one a little bit, go right ahead. In fact, it's probably a really good idea. But before you do that, I suggest that you make a new workspace and leave the default workspaces alone. This gives you a good backup just in case something bad happens, and it possibly could. And that way you won't mess up what comes out of the box. You will always have a fallback to go to that you know works. So to get started, all you'll need to do is click on the Save Current As. So this will save your current workspace as whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call this one Brian. That's my name. Click Save. So when you do that, it becomes the current workspace. So if I click on my button here, you can see I have one that's called Brian. It's current. I'm going to my workspace settings, and I'm going to put this one all the way up at the top. I'm going to select my separator. I'm going to move it up to the top. Now, one thing that you probably want to do is that once you set up your own custom workspace, you want to click on this button here, automatically save workspace changes. What that means is that as I tweak or customize my workspace, it will automatically save that into my current workspace. Now, there is a danger with this. The danger is that if I switch to one of these other workspaces and I make a change to it, it's going to override those settings. So be careful with that. Now, if you're afraid of messing anything up, that's okay. Just click on the Do Not Save Changes to Workspace and leave that on. You will have to keep in mind that anytime you change or tweak your user interface, you're going to have to save that manually. So whichever way works for you, then go right ahead and do that. So I'm going to click OK. I am going to press Control and 1 to turn on my Properties window because I want that there. And that's the way I want my workspace to go. So I'm going to click here, click Save Current As. And I'm clicking this button here to see what I have available. And I want to resave it into Brian. Click Save, and it says, hey, this already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I do. So now, if I switch to my regular drafting and annotations, you can see my design feed shows up here. My properties palette's gone. Everything else is this way. Well, that's okay. But if I switch back to Brian, it puts it back to the way I had it and the way I want it. So that's really good. So you can add toolbars, you can add menu bars, palettes, you can open anything up. And then you can save it. Many users will like to make custom workspaces that are task-oriented. That means that their ribbon tabs, panels, and things are set up for a specific task. So if they're doing some 3D modeling, they're going to put those in there. If they're doing just their drafting work, they'll have those tools there. But then maybe they want to annotate it with dimensions, things like that. And that's all the tools that they'll put in. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can turn your command line off or on. You can work with these customized workspaces all that you want. Create as many as you want, but make it so that it works for you so that it gets your job done more quickly. That's what's important. Now, you're going to find that having certain tools for specific tasks can make you more productive. But while you're learning to use AutoCAD, I recommend that you stick with the out-of-the-box workspaces for now. That's why I'm going to use the drafting and annotation workspace for the majority of this video.